What's going on, guys? Justin here with JT Sports Cards, back at it again with another video for you guys. This time I'm continuing my Rose Bowl PC pickup series with episode number 2. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out episode number 1, where I kind of give you a little bit more background on the series, why I started it. Episode number 1 featured Brian Griese, quarterback for the University of Michigan, who was the winner of the 98 Rose Bowl. So go ahead and check out that episode that kind of sets the stage for the series. So I'm excited today with episode number 2. I have 2 packages today because the winner, or episode number 2 actually features a back-to-back Rose Bowl winner. The 99 in the 2000 Rose Bowl was won by Wisconsin running back Ron Dayne. And just so you guys know as well, I am planning on kind of going in chronological order. I might change my mind on that, but that's kind of the plan going forward. So we'll start off with our first card here. All right, so this is a playoff prestige draft picks 2000 card of Ron Dayne. Obviously, you can see this man was definitely a power back. Also, you can see that this picture was taken during the 1999 Rose Bowl. Got the little patch and jersey there, so pretty cool card to kind of commemorates his efforts in that game. So you also see he was a first-round draft pick in the NFL with the New York Giants, the 11th pick in the 2000 NFL draft. So Ron Dayne, he was absolutely, or 100% was a college football legend. Can't necessarily say the same about Brian Griese. No disrespect to him at all. But Ron Dayne is currently the all-time leading rusher in NCAA Division I college football history. He rushed for 7,125 yards during his career. Now, that does include bowl games. If you take bowl games out, he's actually second behind San Diego State running back Donnell Pumphrey. So he did play all 4 years of his career at the University of Wisconsin, from the 96 to 99 seasons. He also has some pretty nice nicknames. He was known as the Great Dane, as well as the Dayne Train. Personally, I'm always a really big fan of nicknames for sports guys. So this guy was definitely a really big, big man on campus at University of Wisconsin. But if you actually have ever listened to any interviews of him, he's actually a very soft-spoken and humble guy. But in terms of playing style, as I mentioned before, definitely a power back. He actually came into college his freshman year. He weighed 270 pounds. So this man was definitely more one to run you over rather than run by you. We see with a lot of running backs actually from Wisconsin, he got a ton of carries in his career. He ended up having 1,220 carries. I feel like that's pretty standard for Wisconsin running backs. He was actually remarkably consistent as well during his career. Didn't get injured very much. If you break it down, his freshman year, he ran actually the most yards in his career, 1,863 yards. As a sophomore, 1,421. As a junior, 1,325. And he capped it off with a Heisman winning senior season, rushing for 1,834 yards. He really played very well, obviously, in the Rose Bowls, but just in general, he was known as a player that played kind of his best during the big moments. As I mentioned, he was the Heisman winner in 99. He was also the Big Ten Player of the Year in 99. He was a 3-time All-American. His jersey number is retired at the University of Wisconsin. His number is also one that is featured prominently at Camp Randall Stadium, or the stadium for the University of Wisconsin Badgers. He was inducted into the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame in 2011, and he is a member also of the College Football Hall of Fame. So, like I said, very decorated career for Mr. Ron Dayne. So, let's get into his 1999 Rose Bowl game. This was the 85th Rose Bowl game. It was the first time that the Rose Bowl was a part of the BCS Bowl series. So definitely a very pivotal moment in college football history. The year previous to that, where we featured Brian Griese, Michigan and Nebraska, they split the national championship, but they never actually played each other. That led to a lot of people being frustrated. Why can't we crown an actual champion? And that kind of led to the BCS Bowl series. Now, there would be more controversy with the BCS because, were the best two teams always selected to play in the national championship game? Not according to everybody. So, didn't really fix all those problems, but, it was an improvement, I will say. So, as a part of the BCS Bowl game, again, the Rose Bowl, they agreed that they would release the Big Ten or the Pac-10 champion if they, were selected as the national champion or to play in the national championship game. And then the Rose Bowl is also added to, as a member of the BCS, they essentially rotated which of the major BCS Bowl games would serve as a national championship game itself. So other BCS Bowl games, Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl, as well as the Orange Bowl. So in the 99 game, Wisconsin was actually pretty big underdogs. They would play UCLA, which was a highly ranked team all year. They actually could have went to the national championship game. They were number 2 going into the last game of the year, but they actually lost to the University of Miami in a shootout, 49-45. So UCLA was actually pretty disappointed to be selected for the Rose Bowl because they, had their sights set on the national championship all year. Wisconsin, on the other hand, actually was pretty happy and fortunate to make it into the Rose Bowl game. They ended up in a 3-way tie in the Big Ten with Michigan and Ohio State. They all finished with 7-1 records. It's very interesting. Also, at this point, this was before the era of having conference championship title games. There was no Big Ten championship game in 1999 or 2000. So the Rose Bowl, in these instances where they would have ties, the team that would be selected to go to the Rose Bowl game was actually the team that had the longest drought of getting an invitation. Obviously, again, episode number 1 featured Michigan, so they played the year before in the 98 Rose Bowl. Ohio State had been to the year previous, 97 Rose Bowl, and Wisconsin had the longest drought, having last been to the Rose Bowl in 94. So kind of interesting how they decided that. So when there was ties. So again, Wisconsin was pretty big underdogs in this game. Former ESPN analyst Craig James declared that Wisconsin was, quote, the worst team to ever play in the Rose Bowl, end quote. This would be a pretty cold, freezing cold take, as Wisconsin ended up beating UCLA in the 99 Rose Bowl game. It was a pretty high-scoring game overall. Let's see, and Ron Dayne got a ton of work in this game, as was not unusual for him. He finished the game getting 27 carries, 246 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Yards per carry, 9.1. So, absolutely massive performance from Ron Dayne. We also see that Ron Dayne, he actually finished 1 yard short of setting the record for the most rushing yards in a Rose Bowl, which was held by USC's Charles White in 1980. It was also historic in the sense that UCLA actually set the record for the most yards ever in a Rose Bowl game. Ron Dayne also tied the modern Rose Bowl record with 4 touchdowns. And the teams would break the previous record of combined yards of offense. They combined for 1,035 total yards and an absolute shootout in the 99 Rose Bowl game, which Wisconsin defeated UCLA by a score of 38-31. But again, Ron Dayne would not stop there. Wisconsin found their way back the very next year in 2000 to make it back to the Rose Bowl game. And let's get into card number 2 here. All right, it's a very nice card here. I've got a Crown Royale 2000 rookie. Again, very nice. You can see the Rose Bowl patch. I believe that says also 99, so I think they're both from his 99 season. So in terms of Crown Royale, I don't know, I guess I'm not the hugest fan of kind of the design of Crown Royale personally. But again, I had to have this card just because, again, that the Rose Bowl logo was featured prominently as well. So very nice Crown Royale card here. Again, with the 2000 Rose Bowl, it was actually a pretty low scoring game, very different from the very first game. So it was a 17-9 score line. This time Wisconsin came in as the sole champions in the Big Ten. The first time Wisconsin had won the Big Ten outright since 1962. And this was the year, obviously, Ron Dayne won the Heisman in '99, and they played the Stanford Cardinal in this game. Stanford had also gotten a really long time going to the Rose Bowl. They hadn't actually been since 1972. So again, another huge game by Ron Dayne. He finished with 34 carries. Like, my goodness. 202 yards, only 2 touchdowns this time. 5.9 yards per carry. Again, winning back-to-back Rose Bowls. He was only the 3rd player to have won back-to-back Rose Bowls. Previous players was Bob Shortert of Washington and Charles White of USC. Now, there has since been a 4th player that has won back-to-back Rose Bowls. That player will be featured in a future episode, so you'll just have to stay tuned to find out who that was. So, all right, guys, that is it for Rose Bowl PC Pickups episode number 2. Again, Ron Dayne, just absolute college football legend. Really nice to add these cards to my collection. I honestly learned more about this player. He was a little bit before my time, but really have enjoyed kind of getting into the history of Ron Dayne, and yeah, absolute stud. If you're interested, he did play in the NFL. Like I said, he was the number 11 pick in the 2000 NFL draft by the Giants. But unfortunately, he never really was a great player in the NFL. He never cracked 1,000 yards. He did kind of struggle with his weight in the NFL. And yeah, he just never really hit the heights that he did in college. But that is sometimes the case, obviously, with some players. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Go ahead and drop a like on the video. Leave your thoughts. You know, if you're a Ron Dayne fan, or if you learned something about Ron Dayne, just let me know your thoughts on the player himself. I would definitely recommend checking out some highlights of Ron Dayne as well, just watching him bulldoze over players in his career. So we have a lot of other videos on our channel as well. We do a lot of MLS soccer breaks. I've also started a repack review series where I go over different football and basketball repack products as well. So if you're interested, go ahead and check out those videos on our channel. Other than that, stay tuned for episode number 3 of Rose Bowl PC Pickups, which will be coming soon. Thanks for watching, as always, and hope you guys have a good rest of your week.